All right, good evening, everyone. I'm calling the collective committee meeting of the Avon Lake City Council for June 1st at 7 o'clock today. We'll begin the meeting. The first thing on the meeting tonight is public input. Any member of the audience wishing to discuss anything relative to the city is welcome to come forward. I would say that there will be a discussion about the electric with the folks from First Energy. And they'll have an opportunity to discuss that later if you like. I would tonight, however, like to advise folks that relative to the Cleveland Browns, I really don't want to hear any public input about them and their misfortunes today. So that being said, anyone wishing to come forward, give your name, where you live, and we'll be happy to hear what you have to say. Good evening, Mr. Phillips. Welcome.
Gerald Phillips, Avon Lake. I went to Lorraine Metro Parks board meeting, and very interesting conversation. I guess you can't hear it, but there's a point where Mr. Dennis O'Toole, who represents the board, made a statement that as advisor, he is not going to advise the board to get in any kind of project, including the 22 acres by the power plant, because of any potential unknown, unsubstantiated, or risk of any liability. And he also indicated that Mr. Semnick has no authority to bind this park, and there's no board resolution authorizing any partnership. And Mr. Zimnick is appearing before this supposedly at the request of somebody, I'm assuming the mayor. And and then there was discussions concerning the fact that part of his duties is generally to come before when requested and give and provide some information about the metro parks and what they do and what they have done. But
well, that was part of to get some clarity, Mr. O'Toole, because I'm getting mixed messages from the administration indicating that there is this relationship. And just to make a comment, when you say third parties making comments about the park, well, it's a little different. Mr. Semnick has been at a dozen meetings and has been in maybe 3 or 4 executive sessions. So this is more than a rumor. I mean, he's actually participating. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but, that's created part of the confusion, I mean, I know personally that I've been told that there's no resolution, okay? But passed, and without it, he has no authority. But he's coming to meetings like he has authority, okay?
That's your perception.
Well, it's pretty obvious by a lot of people, okay? So, I
Well, Jerry, and I don't want to get back and forth, and you should public comments on that. You as a lawyer should know that any authority of any executive director comes from.
yeah, he's commenting that without a resolution, Mr. Zemnick has no authority to bind
has there been a
the board.
resolution by the board to give him authority to go to the meetings?
He doesn't, he's the executive director. He was communicating.
What's coming up is the comment you can't hear, where he indicated that he's experienced in the EPA, coastal management, and that it would take at least a decade to deal with that property on the lakefront before you got all the approvals. All right? And I will get the actual minutes of that meeting, and I'll present it to you when I get the full minutes. But there's been a misconception, okay? I think Mr. Smith says, well, the park board is going to be involved. No, they're not. There's no resolution. And we talked about the stack, okay? They want no liability of the stack. Stack number 7. And I informed them that in the PSA, they got an easement to go across the parkland to the stack. And the stack is part of the parkland because on the map, there's no segregation of that that stack being owned by them. It's not a separate parcel. There's no carve out. So he's very concerned about any liability. He's not going to advise anything concerning any risk of any liability. And he's not going to accept the liability of that site, even if it's
I would expect that he would come on a few occasions
meets
to talk to the council, but this has been more than a
no
couple
further
meetings
action
today.
letter.
And you don't
Because he's
invite
not going to
somebody
take
into
that risk.
executive
So
session
this
just
assumption
for
that,
information,
the
okay?
Metro Parks
And
is going to get
I got
involved
those questions.
is totally false.
That's what it is, okay?
So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Anyone else wishing to come forward? Please come up.
Go ahead. Go.
Good evening. Name and city you live in, please. You got something to hand out?
Yeah, I count 12 people up here, so I count 12 copies. Hi, my name is Mike Sidorbringer. I'm an
Thank
Avon.
you.
I live in Avon Lake, and I'm on the time. I said that I would bring candidiasis to all of you. Candidiasis is there's a number of types of becoming overweight and obese. Candidiasis is the only one that no one knows how to reverse. But there are some people that do know how to reverse it. They sell a Candida cleanse, but they sell it such a low percentage that when you put more antibiotics from meats, seafood, cow milk, cow dairy, what other things that they're in, and doctors' prescriptions, those people with candidiasis never get a chance to fully reverse their weight. They go on yo-yo diets. So I've changed what I was going to say because I watched Richard Simmons. He was very famous in this country, as everyone knows. He led people to exercise. He led people to lose weight. And the weight always came back. No one ever, in his last 10 years of life, he lived in depression because no matter what he did, dietitians, herbalists, exercise experts, they said that he did everything right. The doctors said he did everything right. The weight always came back after he lost it. Well, no one ever told him that he had candidiasis. After listening to it, I know all the symptoms, all the signs, and the reason we have so many people that are overweight is because they have antibiotics that chemically transform into Candida albicans. They clog the colon and the liver. The hypothalamus gland in our brain on the rear side controls the colon and the functions of the colon and liver. When the colon and liver is clogged with Candida, it orders the colon and liver to slow down their metabolism function. So then people diet and exercise are able to lose weight. And then eventually that hypothalamus gland, whether they're exercising and dieting or not, orders that colon and liver to slow down even further. That's what happened to Richard Simmons. He was depressed because he could never get rid of his weight. And according to all the experts, he did everything right. He never did anything wrong. And now he died depressed. Well, I have 12 copies. I titled it Candidiasis. There are other ways. I will bring those up in the future. And proper diet and exercise and practicing prevention of those root causes will quickly reverse and get rid of that extra weight permanently. But candidiasis takes more. And the reason alternative holistic medicine doesn't give them the entire answer is because, like Big Pharma, Big Biotech, and Big Chema, they're businesses and they want money. So they give low dosages in the Candida cleanse. That has to be addressed someday. That has to be brought out. If this is from the ground floor up, you people are higher than me. You have more power than I do. And I'm hoping that the information I gave to the county commissioners and to Mark Adams, who is retiring on me, because I was counting on him to stick around, but I understand his retirement is good. I I'm just asking you guys to continue to look at all the information I've given you, that I've given to the county commissioners, that I've handed Mark Adams personally in his office, and I'm looking forward to blowing the lid off this big pharma, big biotech, and big chema, and everything else that's going on, because by the math, which I did in the Avon Lake Public Library, and you should take a long trip over there to see if that library is legitimate someday, all of you. By the math, we would have a very affordable universal health care where nobody has to buy any more medical or dental insurance. And so many jobs would be created by so many different things while local, county, state, and federal government pay off their debts. Well, I'm running out of time, so I hope you guys will be looking at this serious and not just disregarding it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and your information. Anyone else wishing to come forward? Good evening, Mr. Zimmerman.
Good evening, William Zimmerman, beautiful Avon Lake. So, last time I was here, I talked about an incident that occurred out on the waters of the Lake Erie. An off-duty police officer, a lieutenant, receives a call in North Ridgeville. He then calls an on-duty Avon Lake lieutenant who takes the call, personal phones back and forth, who then acquires an additional officer to go with him to the ALERG property. On the way, or once they get there, they call the mayor's office. Not Officer Fabrizi, but the other gentleman, Callender, I apologize, I don't remember his name right now. So he gets a code so they can open the lockbox to get the key to go out onto the property, so they can assist somebody by opening the gate so he can run tools across to the other side where they can use these tools then to fix a broken boat. It's not sinking, it's not truly in distress, but it needs repair. This is in 2 or 3 feet of water. They could have anchored the boat, they could have walked ashore, but instead they've circumvented the police department by using their cell phones to have communications to find out how they can assist this person, who must be a friend of theirs. So I don't understand, if the mayor's office knew about it, why there wasn't a report written. There's no body cam of the event. The officers opened the gate and left, under the impression that this individual, who they were allowing onto ALERG's property, would lock it back up when he came back. We don't know if it was. I don't have any idea if it was. But they supposedly took tools across to assist this boat. As I've said before, if it was a distress issue, why didn't they call the Coast Guard? Why didn't they call a tow? They got tugs that'll come out and tow them out. Why didn't they anchor it there? There's so many other things. But what I'm really trying to get at is that this is more about circumventing proper protocol. They did what they wanted to do to help a friend. They didn't care about what means it took or anything like that, even though the one officer is on duty and the other is not. I don't understand how they can just go and do whatever they want when they choose to do it. Yes, I understand they're assisting somebody, but this wasn't grave peril. They weren't in an instance where they're sinking or anything, and it's 2 or 3 feet of water. I don't understand it. I've spoken to the chief here, I've spoken to the chief in North Ridgeville. Nobody has an answer. Nobody knows who this person was that they assisted. Nobody knows who the boat owner was. Nobody knows the boat number. We're just helping blindlessly? Anybody who's supposedly in peril? That's not the job. I thought it was to protect and serve. I have to get into arguments with these officers because they forget that they work for us, the citizens of the city. I don't understand, as I say 100 times, continual happenings that the police chief wasn't even aware of until I've brought it to the forefront. I don't understand this. Again, no body cam, and from my standpoint, no integrity, no transparency for sure, especially if the mayor's office was the one that gave them the code. Something needs to be done. Because from my standpoint, again, there is nothing worse than a criminal with a badge.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Anyone else wishing to come forward? All right, seeing no one, we're on to the request for community resources. Executive Ryan Virtue is here to discuss. There'll be more discussion on this during the Finance Committee meeting in a little while, but I will turn the floor over to Mr. Virtue.
Well, Mayor Spetzel, everybody, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you all tonight. For those who have not had the privilege of meeting yet, I'm Ryan Virtue. I'm the new Executive Director for CRS. I've been blessed to be in this role for almost 9 months now, upon Pam Wardzansky's announced retirement at the end of the calendar year. For those, just a quick refresher, our mission is to diminish the effects of poverty for families in need between Avon and Avon Lake. So we serve families within 200% of the federal poverty rate. Just to give you a little bit of information, in 2025, we served 499 families, 1,244 individuals, and of those, 510 were adults, 539 were children, and 195 were seniors. And for those 499 families, we provided assistance over 11,000 times in 2025 between the use of our food pantry, our emergency financial assistance, our seasonal programs, which we're in the process of preparing for our back to school program right now, through our personal development program, and then through our referrals to other local agencies and support mechanisms for those individuals beyond what we were able to support. So I'm here to, first of all, say thank you on behalf of those that we serve. The city of Avon Lake granted us $25,000 last year, and I wanted to quickly share, and you can see some of the figures there as to how we utilized those funds. So the grant was received on June 10th, and we actually moved through it rather quickly before the end of the calendar year. I don't want to regurgitate all this information, but you can see a significant percentage of that was towards housing assistance, another significant percentage towards utility assistance, and this is all purely based on financial assistance. This does not include any of our food assistance that we provide through other means of fundraising. If you go to the next slide, you'll see total the amount of assistance that we provided to residents of Avon Lake during our entire calendar year. So we operate on a calendar year fiscal year. So total funds expended to Avon Lake residents from all funding sources was $128,703.60. And again, you can see the breakdown here. So that $25,000 certainly is a tremendous benefit to us to be able to serve those clients that we serve, but obviously we do lean very heavily on additional funding sources beyond the city. Of those, just to break it down a little bit further with Avon Lake families, so we served in 2025 284 Avon Lake households, which was actually a 4.4% decrease from 2024. There were 588 individuals served, which is a 5.6% decrease from 2024, and that breaks down to 153 seniors, 235 adults, and 200 children. Over 135,000 pounds of food were distributed through our community resource, our food pantry, to all Avon and Avon Lake residents. I want to share a couple of impact trends. So it was actually shocking to a lot of us that those numbers decreased slightly in 2024 or in 2025 from 2024. I'm in the process now of digging a little deeper into finding out why that is. Is it due to moving from the region that we serve? Is it due to additional support and really trying to figure out what it is? But at the end of the day, a decrease is a good thing in our work. We want to see those numbers decrease. Unfortunately, so far this year, those numbers are reversing. So we have seen the number of families that we serve between both communities increase by 9% at this point this calendar year. Of that, our Avon Lake numbers are 6% increase from where we were at this time last year. So we are seeing an influx of individuals utilizing our services. In April alone, and so we have not finalized our May numbers as of yet. Obviously, that just ended yesterday, so give us a little time on that. But April alone, we were up 37% from April in 2025, which is pretty significant. And just today alone, we had 42 families through our door, and I heard consistently that from our staff that we've never had that many families in our door in one day. So the needs continue to rise, and part of that is obviously we're trying to be a lot more aggressive in making families aware that we are here to serve. So of that 499 families that we served in 2025, that's roughly 50% of who we could be serving in our communities. And so we're trying to really ramp up, the communication around the fact that we are here to support, in addition to obviously the messaging around our need for support to continue to serve those that we need to serve. So that's some of the numbers, just so you can have a general idea as to where we're at. And I'll pause here in a second for some questions. But I did also want to quickly share that thanks to our landlord, Nate Gamelia, and the ownership of Stop 65 and the Beach Park Station, we are actually expanding our pantry by 620 square feet. The wall was just opened last week, 2 weeks ago. The 17th, tentatively right now, looks like the day that we will be moving all of our pantry shelves and content, the food, into that new space. The intent, and then working through different funding sources right now, above and beyond obviously our operational funding sources that are vital for us. We're working to obtain funding to be able to obtain a walk-in cooler so that we can provide more perishable food options for our clients. During the government shutdown in December, when SNAP benefits were cut, we stepped up in a lot of ways to provide more of that service. Unfortunately, we were doing it in a way that was unsustainable for our staff. We were literally going to the grocery store almost every day, partnered with St. Joseph down the street to provide more refrigeration space, but that just wasn't a sustainable process for us. So we did, thanks to our fundraising success last year, we did increase the number of gift cards that we provide our clients on a monthly basis for either grocery or gas assistance. So we did go from 6 months to 12 months of gift card receipts. So they get one per month right now, to try to, again, help support, some of that, the loss of income, the climbing expenditures on groceries and gas. But we're excited to hopefully, with the increased expansion, increased capacity, be able to provide a more robust and equitable perishable food program, so we can provide more of the basic needs assistance for our clients and our neighbors as we're aiming to serve them. So I will pause there, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview as to what's happening in the world of CRS. And again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and serve this community.
Thank you very much. Anyone on my right have any questions? We'll start at the end with Mr. Kaz.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, Ryan, and providing these numbers. The first part of your presentation was really good with the decreases, and I thought this is moving in the right direction.
I went the other way, yes.
And then, shockingly, 2026, the numbers, especially in the last 30 days or so, have just really gone up. I know there's a myriad of issues or reasons why that could be, but are you able to determine whether it's the SNAP benefits, whether it's the increase in gas and fuel. Are you able to determine what it is that has sparked this real high increase in these last couple of months?
Yeah, I wish we could point to it specifically. Obviously, the general cost of living is continuing to rise, and so that disproportionately affects our communities that we serve, those that are under-resourced. And so we have a lot of people coming to us for a variety of reasons, loss of jobs, for just the increased expenditures. I always say this when I'm in groups of individuals. Unfortunately, many of us are one incident away from needing a place like CRS, one medical emergency. So there's a whole variety of reasons that we get when we have new clients come in. So I can't pinpoint to specific trends as to why that is, but I do know there's a varying number of reasons, and my hope is, again, at the end of this calendar year, when we have a chance to step back and really analyze, try to understand more of why the need climbs when it climbs, and also why it decreases when it decreases. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time with our data and the information that we gather.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you, Ryan, for being here and for everything that you're doing to lead the communities to try to deal with poverty. So I'm going to talk about demographics a little bit. So the increase, can you help us to understand what the demographics are of the increase? Are these families? Are these single people? Are these seniors?
Yeah, so we have not dove fully into some of those numbers for this year. I know, just to give you a general idea for Avon Lake, so last year we served 195 seniors. Right now we have 153 seniors that are from Avon Lake. So seniors are certainly continuing to be a primary focus for us. Certainly an increased need. A lot of our younger families, we serve 200 children in this community. So I don't have the numbers specifically on this current increase, but I definitely will look forward to digging into that a little bit further.
And for some of, I know that you have a board member here, so she understands it, but for the residents that are listening tonight, because this is live, right? Can you talk about some of your referrals, how you partner with Food Harvest, in Lorraine County and
Absolutely.
in other agencies?
Yeah, so we are the local distributor for Second Harvest, so we are a big part of that network. Thankfully, a lot of the food we distribute, actually about 97% of the food that we distribute is from our own community and the generosity of our community between Avon and Avon Lake. So we don't have to lean as heavily on the receiving end of support from Second Harvest. But I'm excited, obviously, tomorrow I'll be at the Avon Lake High School distributing food as part of that distribution in partnership with the City of Avon Lake and Second Harvest. So we are that distribution center for them. We are also, and so we will never turn anybody that comes to our door hungry away, whether they're residents of Avon or Avon Lake or not. We are also the local service unit for Salvation Army. So we receive a lot of funds. If you see us ringing the bell at Giant Eagle, I know Kayla's been there a few times with her kids, but we are that service unit locally. And then we just obviously have a lot of partnerships with the schools, with other resources. So we refer a lot to St. Vincent de Paul for additional expansion beyond what we're able to provide. We refer people to programs like PIP and Heat Share. I'm excited to dive a little deeper into Warm Choice as another potential program for our homeowners. And I continue to learn about all these partner programs as well as I go. But we do have a really good number of partnerships to.
And one of the messages that I think that the community needs to know is that you're really the first call.
Yes.
Before, when something happens and somebody needs something now, and you care about your neighbor and you say, hey, I'm going to take you down there. We're going to go down there. Again, share with everybody where you are, because not everybody knows your location.
Absolutely. So we're in Beach Park Station, right next to the Doghouse Bar and Grill, or the new Love Coffee little hot spot there. And yeah, we definitely encourage everybody. The one thing we like to make sure is everybody knows everybody needs help sometimes. And so don't be shameful if you do need assistance. At some point, we hope to get people on the feet. We have seen a lot of client success stories where we have helped a client get on their feet. Now they're giving back to us in a variety of different ways to support their neighbors in need. And it's absolutely incredible. So don't ever hesitate to come. I know anybody that comes to our door will be met with curiosity and legitimate care as opposed to judgment. And so thank you for allowing me to share that.
Thank you.
sir.
Mr. Shamir.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for everything that you guys do. The question that I've got pertains to sources of funding. So what is your typical source of funding? Does it come from just Avon and Avon Lake? And has that been on the decrease or on the increase in this time of need?
Thank you so much for that. So we are not a government entity. So we do receive some city-state funds, obviously from you all here in Avon Lake. We do receive some city funds from the city of Avon. Everything else is grant and private donor based. So we do have partnerships with Community West Foundation, with Lorain County Community Foundation, or Community Foundation of Lorain County, sorry. And then a vast majority of the remainder of our funds are from private individual donors, family foundations, local corporations. Churches are big time supporters of what we do. And not just on a monetary standpoint, but also in terms of a volunteer and in-kind donation standpoint. We just had a local business, our fridge in our garage went on the fritz, and I called a business and they said, you know what, we're gonna buy you a new one. And so we're very well supported by a variety of means, but it is all mostly private.
Go ahead.
So I guess the question that I had, with the economic situation being what it is, and you're seeing an increased number of users coming in, has there been an increase or a decrease in private and private funds?
Yes, so we have seen a little bit of an increase. Our revenue surpassed $1 million last year for the first time, and I think a lot of it is continuing to increase awareness of our existence. I think CRS has been a pretty well-kept secret in our community, and my hope is to be able to change that and provide more opportunities for service. But yeah, we've definitely been on the rise in terms of the support. It's weird anytime it's unfortunate to say this, but anytime there tends to be unfortunate situations, COVID, government shutdown, the generosity of our community comes forward and really steps up to support, and it allows us to provide more service to our clients.
Thank you. Before I go down here, I do have, what's your percentage of administrative expenses?
So our percentage of administrative expenses is about 8% total. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna be, any legislation that we have, you're gonna
Yes.
be abstaining on, would I
Right.
be right about that?
Yes, I just wanted to,
Okay.
is it appropriate for me to ask a question?
I would say you probably shouldn't.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Anyone else on my left? All right. Well, thank you very much. As everyone said, we really appreciate you coming here to tell us all these things and the good work that you do throughout the two communities for sure. And thank you, and to all those that support you and all those that help you out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the Lorain County Public Health. We have the new health commissioner here. If you come on up, introduce yourself, and the dais or the podium is yours, or the table is yours as well.
Thank you. Not really a table person, but we're gonna make it work. Thank you all for allowing me to be here tonight. My name is Justin Rechichar. As you mentioned, I'm the incoming health commissioner replacing Mark Adams after about 6 years with Lorain County. He sends his regards. He cannot be here tonight. But for purposes for tonight, just wanted to make sure I introduce myself, let you know, maybe as a refresher, if you haven't heard, some of the things that the Lorain County Public Health Department does for your community as well as the entire county. So, just as a reminder, health departments have been around for a long time. Our health department started in 1920, so over 100 years ago, 106 or so years ago. And we have a very simple mission: to serve and support a healthy community. Love that. A little bit about my philosophy of public health. I come to you from Portage County Health Department, where I served for about 11 years if you count my internship time. Started as an intern, worked my way as an inspector, to supervisor, to deputy director, to director. So I've kind of changed jobs almost every 3 years. I'd love for this to be my permanent home for a very long time. But I have a philosophy on public health, and that philosophy is very simple. Public health is all around you, whether you realize it or not. So it doesn't have to be the health department per se providing those public health services to be meaningful. So one of the things I typically do is I reference this, what I call a jelly bean chart. So in the center, you see the public health agency, and then you see everyone around: schools, EMS, hospitals, nursing homes, fire departments, elected officials, corrections, kind of an entire gambit of different services, different organizations, different people, kind of all surrounding you all at one time to get this comprehensive picture of public health. One of the things that you'll notice on this chart is the lines, how they all connect. You can see that they go back to the center of public health, which is your public health department. So I love always showing that graphic. It's kind of a snapshot of my philosophy of public health. Who we are as a public health department, we have 6 main divisions, or 6 voices of your health department. The first being population health. Those are the folks that are out in the community providing safe sleep environments, so cribs for kids or car seats. I sat in a 2-hour meeting with all the population health division staff today, and I was blown away. So I've only been at the health department now this is my 5th week. And let me tell you, the amount of different things that our pop health division is extraordinary. Like I said, from cribs for kids to car seats to safe communities. So if you see any of the click your ticket signs, the different events like that, that's all coming from our population health. We also have a WIC division, women, infant, and children's. You'll see a little bit later, we're serving close to 4,800 folks within that program. So they are busy. It's probably one of our busiest divisions. There are people in and out every single day, and we actually have 2 sites in the county currently. We're looking to expand to maybe some pop-up sites to better serve the community as well. Then you have community health, which is really our, what you would hear in the past is our nursing division. They're the ones responsible for immunizations. They do a lot of our travel clinic stuff. We've started a home visiting program for new mothers. So we've identified a gap that we do all of this work prior to the baby being born, and then once the child's born, it's kind of silence. So this is a program that allows our staff to actually do a home visit, come into the house, talk with the mother, see how the baby's doing, assess needs within the built environment in that house. If for whatever reason they don't have a crib, we're going to supply that at that moment. We're going to connect them to WIC services. We're going to help get them connected to their physicians to make sure that there's good outcomes for that baby. Then we have our emergency preparedness. So going back 6 years ago, for times that I like to try to forget, that's what really runs our emergency preparedness division. We do different things like point of dispensing drills, any kind of outreaching in regards to, if there's an emergency, that's going to be the folks that are really going to ramp that up. And we've combined that with our epidemiology division. So it's kind of a combined group now that not only are we looking and preparing for things that could happen, we're also analyzing trends and trying to be preventive of things that could happen. So an easy example for that is studying the outbreak of communicable disease, specifically maybe related to STIs. We could see an uprise in a certain STI, and then we can come back in and provide preventative service to help prevent those types of diseases. Then we have environmental public health, which is where I primarily came from. So I'm assuming everyone in this room's eaten at a restaurant. I love eating in a restaurant. There's been a local health inspector in those restaurants making sure that the food that you're eating is safe to consume. We also have a pool program, vector control, tattoo body art, a whole gambit of different programs, commercial wastewater inspections, residential wastewater inspections, all kinds of stuff. And of course, mosquito surveillance and tick dashboards that we'll see a little bit later. And then really for me, what I consider the backbone is our administrative services. Those are all the folks behind the scenes to make sure that the bills are getting paid, that everyone's happy with the paycheck, of course, and making sure that the health department's running smoothly. And when you come in the door, you have a smiling face, being able to connect you to that person that you came for. So we invest in the health of every neighborhood. One of the things that attracted me to Lorraine County was actually some of the programming that we do. So every year we run a grant that allows the placement of playgrounds. So you can actually apply for a sub-grant recipient. And if there's an area that you want a playground in, we'll actually award grants based upon, the application, of course, to install playgrounds. Healthy people, healthy places. The more exercise, more outdoor activities, we can see improved health commitments as well. And we also do things like improving walking trails and partnering with the Parks District. One of the other special things is we have a school nursing program. There's not very many health departments that still run a school nursing program. That's perfect because we can actually provide some of that firsthand care in the schools, keep those kiddos in school, not be like me when I was in school and saying, hey, I have a headache or a fever, I don't want to go to school. Kids in our county can go to school and get the care that they need directly in the school. So again, that's not a program that every health department in the state has. Again, we protect residents from disease, so doing communicable disease investigations with our not only our nurses but our epi teams. We can actually study trends, see an increase in different diseases, and then do the preventative actions necessary to stop or slow those spread of disease. So this time of the year starts coming into the talk of mosquitoes and ticks. So we do have a vector control program that we're doing mosquito surveillance. We also have some tick surveillance. So hopefully you've heard about Lyme disease and alpha-gal syndrome. Hopefully that you're taking preventative measures when you're going outside, walking the parks, make sure you're protecting yourself, checking for ticks, those types of things. So if you didn't know, we do have a tick tracker. So if you do find a tick, you can actually go to our website and report that. What that's allowing us to do is to start performing passive surveillance. So currently, if we were to do some active surveillance, we could go do tick dragging and things like that, but that's only going to be regional in one location. Certainly the time and the resources we don't currently have to spread across the county, but passive surveillance, everybody in the county hopefully is outdoors, being active. So that's an opportunity to actually submit ticks that you might find on yourself or on your animals. In addition to that, it's hot off the press. We're partnering with the Parks program to also put tick collection stations. I believe there's 6 locations that we're going to pilot to see how well that's received. Awesome pool in the ground, jar of alcohol. You can scan a QR code, take a picture. A GIS locates exactly where that tick was found, and our staff will actually identify that tick. So again, different things for passive surveillance. We also do a lot of cleanups for neighborhoods. Again, a service that we provide that is not something that is done at every single health department. So the goal is to obviously prevent blight, clean up properties so there's not infestations of rodents or any kind of other varmints that cause disease. Most people see a house that's kind of run down or broken down, and maybe someone going in and out that maybe needs some help. And most people turn that blind eye and say, well, we're not going to help them. We're the community that actually we're the agency that goes out, and we're going to provide those cleanups for those folks. So some examples. If you haven't seen, just a few months ago or a few weeks ago, we had one in the news that got some traction. There were four 20-yard dumpsters that went out within a 4-hour period of one single house. Mark Adams described it as a time machine during the cleanup. You would go from the basement all the way to the 2nd floor, and you could go through each decade to see the stuff coming out of the house. So it's a great program. What we do is we obviously do the cleanups through volunteers. Some of our staff go out and do that. We actually source separate the site. We try to recycle as much material as we can to provide that resource back to the homeowner to help them out, frankly. Again, as I talked, we prepare and respond for emergencies. Everybody knows what happened in 2020. That is the stuff that health departments are directly responsible for. But we also do different things with the emergency planning. So we'll run drills, whether it's for a bioterrorism act, it could be a massive storm, tornado, different things like that we're preparing that in the event of emergency, we're ready to respond. So it's just some pictures of our staff, because certainly Mark would tell you he's not the one directly doing the work. We have a great team out and about in the community doing the work. So you can see, folks, we had a Narcan walk where I don't remember the city, but we actually walked door to door and passed out Narcan kits. And then you can see some of our emergency preparedness working with local authorities. I believe that was for fentanyl test strips that you can actually test to see if your drugs are laced with fentanyl before a user would take that. And again, just an overview of some of the program highlights. Our Healthy Places grants work directly with communities, employing public health, community health workers, preventing infant mortality. That's a huge program that we're going to continue to make sure that we're fighting infant mortality in this county. On average, we have about 35 or so deaths a year. That number's too high, so we got to keep working to get that number down. We also have low prescription medication programming that will connect with our clients, serving over 2,000 families and saving the families over $525,000 just by connecting them to the additional resources. And as I mentioned, 4,800 WIC clients and growing, unfortunately. And then we also started this past year a milk collection bank. Last year we collected 90 gallons of breast milk that gets sent to the state, gets pasteurized, and is actually provided to mothers that have children either in the NICU or unable to breastfeed for whatever reason. So just some more photos of our staff out and about. We're in the community a lot. We're going to continue to be in the community even more than we have been. Again, doing different programs, whether it's water sampling. Again, the Narcan walk. Statistics show that we're preventing overdose deaths by 55% just by doing that one service. Again, food safety, excellent staff going and making sure the food that you're eating is safe to consume, and all the grants that we do with the safer streets, safer roads, safer sidewalks. So ways to get a hold of us: call us, walk in, email us, shoot me an email. We'll get you in contact with whoever you need to. Again, going back to that jelly bean chart, for me, really, public health is in the center of everything that we do every single day. We might not have the answer, but we're going to make sure we find the answer and connect you to the service that you need. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
We're going to have some questions. I don't know if we have any. On my left, I'll start on my left this time. Seeing none. On my right, Mr. Kaz.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank outgoing Health Commissioner Mark Adams, who could not be here tonight, as was mentioned. Mark did a great job leading the County Health Board over his 6 years. He attended a number of our meetings. I think about 10 years ago, when Avon Lake joined the Lorraine County Board of Health. We started a program of bringing in the health commissioner each year for an overview just like this, to continuously remind the public of what the Board of Health does. And I think it's been very helpful keeping this in the forefront for our residents. Just as the previous CRS discussion mentioned, it's important that we continue to remind people of the services that are available in the community. So between the two organizations, this continuous, putting the information out there to the public, I think is a really good thing. And I thank Mr. Adams for his service to this. And I welcome Mr. Ratchachar to this program. We'll bring you in on a yearly basis, or as needed as well too, whether in this forum, which seems to work best because you get, these are all televised and put over social media, or at the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting. And I know that you know our local representative, Michaela Highland. She is we appointed her to the board, and she works directly with you guys, and she reports to us on a monthly basis of what you're up to. So even if you're not here on a monthly basis, she is your eyes and ears there, and she comes to our meetings and gives us the reports, and also relays our concerns from City Council and the Mayor's office back to you. So it's been a very good relationship, and I look forward to keeping it going. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaz. Anyone else? Seeing none, I thank you very much for your time, for coming out. Thank you for the presentation. And certainly we appreciate all the services that you and the health department do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph.
Got it.
All right. That moves us to our standing committees within the collective committee meeting. And the first one listed is Building and Utilities Committee. Chair Amy Gentry, I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Yep, I will call the meeting to order at 7:50. All three members, myself, Mr. Reynolds, and Mr. Shamir are present. First order of business is approval of minutes. Any issues with the minutes as written? Seeing none, we'll pass as written. We'll move on to the unfinished business. Just a quick update from Mr. Liskovic on the coal yard stormwater connection. That statement of work has that gone out?
It has gone out. I'm waiting on feedback from the consultant.
Okay. And then the next two items were the discoloration of the water at City Hall and the leak in the basement. If you want to give us updates on those
Sure.
two.
I'm working with another consultant on trying to track down the source and cause for the discoloration. We've had Regional Water do a number of tests on it, which I think were submitted. If not, I can distribute too. And their statement in general is it still is safe to drink, but obviously we're seeing particulates and stuff like that in non-filtered sources, such as lavatories, faucets, and stuff like that. So I received, just before I went on vacation last week, I did receive a proposal from Hazen and Sawyer to do an investigation into the cause of it. I'm just trying to get caught up and up to speed on different things that I missed last week, so I'm in review of that right now.
So who is that?
Hazen and Sawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a very notable water resource consulting firm.
Thank you. All right. Anything else with those two? We good? The next topic was the Communications and Technology Commission voted to present draft copies to council for consideration for employee use of social media policy, social media comments policy, and privacy notice. Privacy notice for public websites. Those have been passed on to the law director, and then we'll be bringing those to the Building and Utilities meeting next month. Then we've been following the House Bill 361. That was regarding building inspectors, local regulations, and zoning. This is still on hold, so I do not have an update on that. And the last item is, yes.
I have a question, Madam Chair. This is kind of involved with that. So last month in May, we talked about the long-term rental inspections. Is House Bill 361 going to be affecting that at this point?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look into the details of
Okay,
it
thank
again.
you.
So the last update was Avon Lake Regional Water is working on Armour Road, and that work will be complete by the first week of July. Any other questions on any of these issues? Seeing none, I'm trying to squeeze to move on to the next topic. The next topic is going to have First Energy representative Brian Baer come and talk to us.
Good evening, Mayor Spetzel. John, I've been working with you a lot. Law director and council members, thank you for having me. So I've been with First Energy 20 years. I started off meter reading and worked at getting into the company a little bit more. I went to TerraTech for power and controls, and then was over into the engineering group for about 8 years. I kind of got pushed over to the customer accounts group for 7, and then here I am at the local engagement level. So I'm here to help you guys, hopefully, to be your friend, to try to get things done. So thank you for inviting me, Amy. I appreciate it. Although I do see that there are issues with the grid at times with the storms that come through, and I just want to be an advocate for you guys and just let you know if there's anything that I can pass along to help out this what's going on out in the world there. So this is very important to me. I mean, we don't want to have power losses out there, and we want to get things up. I've worked with John numerous times And I just want to show you guys trust, so I hope you guys accept that. Thank you.
So I know there was a project, I don't know if you had a chance to check with Nick
Did
about
not.
that? Okay.
He was in a meeting,
Oh,
and I
okay.
tried calling on the way here too, so
Okay.
I could get that back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted an update. I think we should be just about done with that project for the 3rd and 4th ward, but I know that my council representatives to my left are anxious to talk about some issues that they are having in their wards.
No problem, yeah.
So, Ms. Vanderbosch?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So if you could, I'm going to hand you something if I could. This is the ward that is east of where Amy is. Okay, she's in the center of town. We're east, then far east is going to be Rob Shamir, all right?
Okay.
And what you have there is documentation. The blue tabs since March the 7th through May the 20th show that there were 5 outages in my area. That happens to be my house. And I have equipment on there that tracks the voltage. Then the yellow tab that you see is what they call the severe brownout. But I'm not going to go through every single day, but as you go through the days, you're going to see there's a number of brownouts there. There's been so much equipment loss in my ward that individuals have that many of us, including myself, we have a whole house system so that there aren't any spikes that come through and kill everything. But what we have learned is that it's actually the brownouts that are most damaging to our home appliances, whether it's your refrigerator, it's your built-in ovens, or whatever it is that you have. So I wanted you to see that because we're off of Jaycox. So on Jaycox, the wires are overhead. I'm one of the many that are underground that end up going up in the air, when it gets out of our area. But as a individual that worked with the engineering department, I think you'll find that study to be interesting.
Okay.
And perhaps it will help to back out to find out where these outages are coming from.
Yeah, I appreciate this and the time that you've taken to do this. If I usually get a hold of our reliability coordinator, and he can come up with the brief time periods and whatnot. This is very nice to have to kind of reference back and forth with that. So then we can try to figure out if there is something in between the areas that you're having trouble with that we can take care of it.
Well, there's something new in Avon Lake, and my homeowner's insurance is with a company that provides the Ting reports, which you have there,
Okay.
for free. And so my insurance company wanted me to use it, like all of the rest of their clients. So we have actually a printout that comes every single week as to how our electricity has come in with the
Okay.
voltage.
Yeah, this is really nice. My mom was actually getting the Ting, so that's nice that this is actually helpful for everybody.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I will reference this to you.
Thank you.
I'll get the same report that we have,
Yes,
and I can share that with you.
perfect.
via
And
email.
my email's right there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I did forward you a couple of addresses that I received. I received a few of them.
Yeah,
I just
so
sent them
those
to
were
you.
flickering.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nick Caceres, the old local engagement rep, he went over to reliability, or he went over to economic development. He might have been here to explain flickering, what flickering is. So flickering on the lines is a protective device that we have called a recloser. So if there's a fault, as in like an animal, or if there's a tree limb or anything on the lines, it's going to see the fault, send back a message, kind of flicker, turns it off for a minute and puts it back on. If it does it 3 times, then it locks out. Kind of like the old school way, you would have a fuse that would go right off the bat, and then you'd have to wait for someone to come. So it's kind of a protective device to try to help isolate that and make sure that the fault is cleared. So when you see the flickering, it's something down the line that is interrupting the service. So usually there's outages, and then it locks out the substation, and then they have to have a troublemaker go out, survey, see what's going on, see if there's any trees out, any lines down, anything. Usually those take about 45 minutes the most. So.
And Mr. Shamir, I know you had some.
Yes. I am within Ward 1. And within Ward 1, which is east of Lear Road, all the way to the Bay Village border. And most of the reports that I have is north of Walker Road with outages. And those outages seems not to correlate with you guys' records, because I have been actually at residents' homes standing outside where we have contacted First Energy and you're indicating no outage, yet there is no power. So that is something that's become endemic, and it's been around now for well over a year. And I know that you guys are working with the underground lines, but those issues tend to get worse rather than get better. I mean, I can tell you, I back to Bay Village, my own house, and I have gone through a microwave in the past 3 weeks. My solar system has surged, so I've brought in to replace components. But it's not about what I'm going through. I can tell you that the residents are quite unhappy with power outages that are more than 8 hours. And then the other side of this was your contractors that come to do work that tend to have not the demeanor that is required to deal with some of the residents. You know, I had a resident which her husband had passed away, and the comment was made to her, "Oh, you're the one that your husband," and it's I think it requires a bit of service mindset, at least with the contractors that come to deal with the issues. And then when there is construction work, excavation, at some point in time, that work needs to be completed. People's yards cannot be sitting out for seasons in and out with continuous excavations. And we have a resident that has had his yard excavated at least 3 different times within 2 years. So these are the issues that I'd like to get a resolution on. And resolution being, okay, we've got a program in place. This is our program. This is what we're going to be doing. So at least residents have an understanding of what it is that you guys are doing to resolve the issues and what they can expect and what the window for that resolution and action is. Because, you know, when we talk about, well, they're going to deal with it, they're going to deal with it is not an answer that they want to hear after about 8 months, a year, or 2 years. So that's my issue.
I apologize on the contractors. I've kind of heard that issue. I do talk to leadership. I also talk to the president of the company at times, so I will address these issues so that they know that this is not what we want out there. You know, our company does not want someone coming in to help us. We need to treat everybody the same as how we would. I apologize on that. When there's these your microwave damage, is there is it a storm that happened, or just what's the situation?
The situation, at least with my case,
Yeah.
is power just goes off.
Okay.
And on my own situation, I've got generator, I've got solar, I've got batteries.
And
so,
and you're saying it doesn't show that you're off?
oh, I know that the transition, for example, the microwave clock resets. That's the only reason I know that there was a power outage. But there are people in Ward 1 that have refrigerators, that have other equipment that have burned out, and they're just, they're wondering.
So, yeah, I can give you my personal number to call me. I don't know if you have it already.
I would get that number from you.
Okay, so I would like you to call me when these things happen so I can document it and
Okay.
keep it on a calendar trend, see
Sure
what's
thing.
going on. That way we can actually look into this pretty deep. All right, so I don't have a business card. I'm the interim position right now. They didn't want me to get one yet, so I might not be here long, to be honest.
Mrs.
I've been
Rossmarin.
5 weeks waiting to hear, so.
Mrs. Rossmarin,
This is my
can you
business
give it
card.
to
Thank
all
you.
of us, sir?
that?
Mrs. Rossmarin can give that
Okay,
to all of us?
yes, thank you. Yes, I mean, I'm available to, answer questions anytime. I don't like to hear these things. I want to try to fix them. I want to try to be there to help you guys advocate, get it done. There's a lot of work that we got to do, I've noticed, so, hopefully you guys understand that I'm going to try my hardest to get things done. I've worked with John. I mean, there's been some situations that we've had, and I hope that we work well together. And
If I could, there is a switching that is between Jaycox and Lear.
okay,
Okay. And if you're on one side of the street, it's going with Bay Village. So if they have a limb coming down, those houses go out, even though the rest of the neighborhood is on. Okay. So historically, it was switched back so that we're not part of the problem that Bay Village is experiencing. And I've been here a little bit longer than Mr. Shamir, and the street that he is indicating where they've had problems over and over and over again, that particular residence, because I remember this, was part of the Bay Village switching, and then they switched it back, and it still hasn't resolved it. So that particular residence really needs to be targeted.
yeah, if I can get that address,
Thank you.
I'll send you
that would be
address.
great. I would like to do a 2-year history on that, just to see where we're at, and especially if it's not a storm-related issue. So that would help us get better reliability for you guys. Thank you.
All right. I know
you got
Mr.
He's
Okay.
on your committee.
All right, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you. When I was stationed in Virginia, we had some issues where our power would drop. We'd have power surges and we lost some appliances. But they had a program there where we could get reimbursed from the power company for that. Does First Energy offer anything like that for appliances that, if it's
So-
documented that it is?
You could call our claims department if it's during a storm. They'll walk you through the steps that they can help you with. I don't necessarily know of it historically happening where someone did get reimbursed on something like that. I haven't dealt with that yet, so we can get you in the claims department, and if that happens, then or I can even look into it and see if that will be something that we can take care of.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Mr. Cost.
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to thank Mr. Bear. He helped me out on a issue that in Ward 4 with an HOA that had questions about a situation that up until that time we had not been able to get resolution on, and he helped get that resolution. So thank you for helping me do that a few months
Thank you
back.
for even entrusting in me. I started this internship, and then I actually put myself out there to help half of Cuyahoga County when the other guy left. So at that time, I was doing 2 storms and all of northern Ohio. So I was trying my hardest to get everybody's attention and try to make sure that I'm taking care of you guys.
Well, thank you for that. So will we be, I know you don't have it here tonight, but will we be able to get a summary of this, like Ms. Gentry said, a summary of the status of the Ward 4 substation power line replacement improvement project, of where we are with that?
Okay.
I know we're getting there on it, but it would be nice to have a summary of where we are, what still needs to be done, and an estimated final completion date.
And this is for what? What substation?
This is the Ward 3, Ward 4 power line and substation project that was begun a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I don't know if there was
Yeah, it was like a
more
2-year
specific.
project. Yeah, I
Is this
don't know.
transmission or distribution? Do you know?
Both.
Both?
I thought it was more than 2 years, but it could be. But it would be nice to know where we are on that, and if it is complete,
Okay.
that would, whatever, I just need a summary on that.
For sure.
The other thing is, do we have scheduled tree trimming
I
this
could get that
summer
information to you.
in Avon Lake? And it would
Yep.
be, and it would be really important, not only do we have tree trimming scheduled for the city, but where in the city?
Yeah.
Because we'll get questions, all of us,
Yep.
from residents
sure.
about it, so it'd be nice
So as
if
we
we had
do
a
it
heads
every
up.
4 to 5 years, I'll see where you guys are at on the rotation. Do you know when they were here last in the area?
2 years ago.
Mr. Mayor, remember we went out to Belmar when they were trimming, was that
2 years ago?
3 years, maybe?
2-3 years ago?
Okay, so you should be. I know that Westlake and all that, Bay Village and all, they're coming over this area. So
If you can get me an update
yeah, I
on
can
that.
definitely get you an update.
Okay,
Yep,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
that. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
This will be real quick. So are we going to be doing tree trimming with your contractor as we have in the past, or are you doing the helicopter one?
So the helicopter ones usually do the transmission lines,
Okay.
and the contractors that we contract out are going to take care of the.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any other, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I just wonder when you're gonna wanna try and get the gentleman back here again, maybe if we get him on the schedule
Yep.
now. we
So,
can get it set up.
The next collective committee meeting, I was thinking maybe July 6th, or we don't have one.
You
We're out
want them
after
within
that.
a month, or I was thinking more like September sometime.
Yeah.
It's
we
your
can do that.
committee though, so whenever you wanna try and get them back here.
I will submit to email to all you guys, or
So
if you want.
the response
My
from
response
the
is for tonight?
questions is what I was looking for.
Yes, I
Yeah.
will do the meeting minutes and give them back to you.
Perfect, yeah. I'll
For
share
for
those,
tonight.
and then we can schedule out further for you to come back.
Okay. Thank you.
I just think it's important for
Yep.
a regular visit, so we know
I
what's
agree.
going on, so that
Understand, yeah.
we can get you any updated information.
All right. Any
Sounds
other
good.
questions? No. Seeing none, we'll open up for public input. Anyone? Anyone?
You go ahead and sit down.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
I
Phillips?
thought I was gonna answer public.
The Gerald Phillips, Avon Lake, Co-Yard Stormwater Connection. You know, this is the only case where we had a screw up. We have no problems with connections in subdivisions in the past, and this is an exception that is an exception. And you gotta understand the circumstances of it, and it's just a procedural thing. It's a process, the code. You got a code that provides for stormwater management, a stormwater manager, and a process to get that approved. And, the problem was you had Bramhall doing the work on the particular retention basin that couldn't do his own work. Then you had the mayor exceeding his authority, Zoka, approving it. Then you had Gaydar, who also was appointed to do the calculations, but all he did was quantified that the size could handle a 100-year flood plus 1 foot. And then you had Mr. Monroe who got involved in it. None of those individuals were the proper people under your codified ordinances. You know, the other problem was you didn't have an engineer, and you still don't have an engineer. If my recollection is correct, the public service director is a stormwater manager. He's the one that was involved in it. Or no, he appoints the stormwater manager. Well, that wasn't done. So I don't know why you're spending money, to study the stormwater connection, because it has nothing to do with the work. It has to do with the procedure that wasn't followed. Wasn't followed in this particular case. And it was complicated because ALERG was in the process of buying that, selling that property to the Avon Lake Regional Water. So you had people from Avon Lake Regional Water who were acquiring the property from ALERG, checking, that work when it was part of a real estate transaction. Seems to me a conflict of interest. So I don't know how much you spent for Osborne and who you're going to have the statement of work, but last time I checked, you don't have money to burn. You don't have money, a tree outside. You're asking for tax revenues from the residents. So this is wasteful. This is a wasteful situation to spend all that money on either Osborne or for this SOW.
Thank you. Anyone? Nope. Okay. In that case, I will close the meeting. It is now 8:15.
Thank you, Ms. Gentry. Next on the agenda is the Finance Committee meeting, chaired by myself. I see that both Mrs. Fenderbosh and Mrs. Goodwin, my fellow committee members, are here. Call the meeting to order. The first item is approval of the minutes from May 4th. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, the minutes will be approved as submitted. First thing on the agenda is the Community Resource Services. We heard from Mr. Virtue earlier. There is a request that we have done in the past for a donation in the city of Avon Lake in the amount of $25,000. As they indicated, we've done that in the past, and I leave that up to discussion among the committee members. Well, you're not allowed to talk about it, are you? So, Mrs. Fenderbush, anything on that? Anyone else on council or the mayor? All right, go ahead.
No, I would just say I fully support the 25,000 donation. We've been doing this for a while. They provide, as Mr. Virtue indicated, a wide range of important services to our residents. Is well worth those funds. Thank you.
Yeah, I do as well. I was very impressed with the 8% administrative cost. There are many charities that far exceed that, a couple of which that I would no longer donate to because they were so high. So I'm in favor of that as well. We're looking to have that on as a first reading, and we'll move that on the committee meeting, the collective committee meeting for a reading on that. Do we have time to do 3 readings on it before we break for? I don't think that we do, or do we? We got? Yes, we do. So we'll do that full three readings on that, I would think. All right. Next is anyone from council, any questions on that? Next is a regional income tax agency income tax report. I did look that over. I see that we are approximately 3.54% behind in collections at this point, the amount being $346,000. Anything else from that report, Mrs. Crossy, that you wanted to discuss?
I did mention last month we were down as well, and we have 2 net profit folks that we are keeping our eyes on. One is a refund, and the other one, they tend to trend up and down. So we're hoping that that large taxpayer is just down at the moment and will rebound back up.
Yeah, well, we were hoping that May collection would improve, and it was still down I was down $255,000 at that point.
Yeah.
So that was less than last year's collection on that. All right, any questions from the committee on that? Anyone else on council? Seeing none, we're on to the monthly fund report. Ms. Crossy.
Thank you, Council President. I will just point out again, as I did with the March report, that we do have a few funds that have negative unencumbered balances, largely due to the timing of the purchase orders that they have open. So the Fund 210, the Communication and Technology Fund, they have $333,000 in open purchase orders. So these funds will correct themselves once we do the June transfers, fund transfers. And the Economic Development Fund number 226 is also in negative unencumbered balance, and that is because they have about $700,000 in outstanding purchase orders. And just a reminder that we are reimbursed for the majority of those purchase orders that are open as they're spent. And other than that, as far as the budget goes, aside from the income tax, we are pretty much on target. We're keeping a close eye on our expenses. So, thank you.
Anyone on the committee, any questions?
I do.
Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you very much. If I could ask Ms. Crossy a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, Fund 446 has a balance, ending unencumbered balance. That's for ALPS, the playground fund. Is that for the up-and-coming landscaping that's going in? Is that underneath that? Or, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So there are still outstanding purchase orders of $210,000 there.
Yes.
So that almost $75,000 is unspoken for. At this point, that is actually a little bit of excess in that fund. At this point, that could be used for things like the landscaping or whatever
thank
might
you.
be determined.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from council? All right, seeing none. On to item number 4, the McDonald Hopkins additional legal fees. Who do you want to handle this? Mayor, do you want to handle it, or Mrs. Crossy, or Mr. Ebert?
I'll turn this over to Mr. Ebert.
Yes, these are concerning when the, both McDonald Hopkins and Sealy Savage are both up in the same situation when they originally had the lawsuits filed, are now winding down. Where we're at, as a matter of fact, I'll give you a brief synopsis real quick. I think you've all gotten copies. April 30th, the Court of Appeals denied appellant's motion for reconsideration. That was on that case involving Lake Road situation. In May 26th, the motion for reconsideration filed by realtors was denied concerning the Supreme Court, and that's the Brownfield issue. So that matter is now final. We are actually preparing a compliance of that as far as the minutes is concerned. And then today I circulated the judgment entry from the probate court when that matter concerning the removal of the mayor was successful. There was an appeal filed. There was a decision that asked the court to expand further. And as of today, June 1st, the complaint for removal of public officer directed towards Mark Spatzel as mayor of Avon Lake is dismissed, cost of the complainant to Gerald W. Phillips. So that case now is second tier of that situation, affirming the lower court's decision. So we're winding down on some of these things. And the other case that was involving a lot, as far as McDonald Hopkins, as everybody knows, with the various entities that were involved with the Jeremy Betza case that was appealed. That case was settled, but that involved several firms through the insurance company and McDonald Hopkins and myself. I shouldn't say not McDonald Hopkins. That was just the other two firms that were involved concerning the insurance company.
All right, thank you for the update, but what I was really looking for is how much more money are they asking for?
Well, go ahead. No,
Yes,
no.
I think for the McDonald Hopkins, it's 15,000, and Sealy Savage about 20. That is just an estimate. Will probably come in less than that. It sounds like since this is wrapping up here. So.
All right, so we'll have that on for a first reading.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And our thoughts are we're going to do 3 readings on that?
We would have time for that. Yes.
Okay. And that's set forth in the collective committee meeting again later on. Any questions from the committee? How about council? Yes, Mr. Shamir.
Are those funds reimbursable under insurance or not?
Some are, Mr. Mayor. With the Betza, some were. Some of the other ones were not, based on the action that was proposed. I can give you a breakdown as how much if you want. I can put that together, but there were.
Any further comments on that? All right, moving on, we're on to the Avon Lake Regional Water Fund 708 for PFAS settlements. Mrs. Crossy.
Thank you, Council President. So I just wanted to touch on this real lightly as a heads up for the Finance Committee that this will be a new fund request coming from Regional Water. And the PFAS are the forever chemicals, and so there's been much litigation. So Regional Water will be receiving settlements on that. So they want to set up a new fund for that.
And we'll need legislation for that?
That is actually going through their board, I believe, tomorrow. And then the information will get to us, so hopefully first reading next week. And
That'll be legislation then?
yes.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? From the rest of council? Mr. Shamir.
I do have a question with respect to the settlement funds. Are they going to be allocated towards treatment, or is it specifically slated for something operational?
I don't have those details. That'll be discussed most likely at their meeting tomorrow, at which time then I would be able to get more information
Thank you.
on that. Mhm.
Sir.
Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes. So is this an industry-wide settlement, or is this specifically with Avon Lake Regional Water?
That question would be probably most, I should be able to direct counsel on that next Monday after their board meeting. I don't know, but since it's the Forever Chemicals, my guess is that it's industry-wide, but.
Yeah, I believe it's industry-wide.
I would think so.
Yeah.
But again, this was brought for more of a heads up for council to know that this was coming ahead of time for the new fund to be established. All right, crack ceiling bid opening. Mr. Liskovic, you want to take this?
Sure.
Go
Excuse
ahead.
me. Let's see here, about a week and a half ago, we had bid openings for 2026 crack seal program. Chris Howard is working through a bid review on them, and we'll have his recommendation for award for the public service meeting on Wednesday. But I am pleased to say that we did have 3 bidders that submitted, and preliminary review, all of them came under what we had originally anticipated for this year. So we'll be able to do, with that, we'll be able to do Lake Road end to end, which was what my goal was, but considering the volatility of the oil market as we were going out for bid and prior to, I wasn't certain how that would shake out. So
Thank you.
it's a win.
Yeah, this was an item that I wanted to get on the agenda for everybody because we're gonna have, it's gonna be discussed on Wednesday. And just to bring it out so that everybody knows that it's coming.
Mhm.
And my guess is you're gonna wanna get that going as soon as possible to get
Yeah, it
out
would be
there and
preferred.
fix the streets,
Yes.
correct? All right, so that will be as an emergency, as it comes through your committee, Mrs.
It'll be
Fenderbosh.
suspension of the rule
Okay,
and emergency passage.
thank you. All right, next is the homestead and owner occupied exemption. Mrs. Crossy.
Thank you, Council President. So this, if folks remember, for 2025, the county was able to enact a piggyback tax exemption for homestead and owner-occupied folks. And so it's now been proposed for 2026 to be collected in 2027 again, or to be recognized as exemptions. But it is under discussion currently with the commission, and they'll be talking about it tomorrow at the commissioner meeting. It did, the city recognized $250,000 less in property tax this year due to this piggyback tax exemption.
And I believe we had some representation at the last commissioner meeting.
Correct. It
Who
was
all
most,
went?
yeah.
Who all went?
Yes. So I went, Mrs. Fenderbosh and Councilman Schmier were all there. And it was mostly superintendents of the schools. They're getting hit the hardest. And there was just one mayor there, so.
All right.
Yes.
Do we have any thoughts on where that's headed to right now at that level? Do we need to go again tomorrow, or? Okay, I finally got some hands to pop up on that one. Go ahead, Mr. Shamir.
Well, what it sounded like, there were a lot of folks there, and it looked like they tabled it until less people show up. So I'm going to go back out, and I think that was pretty much what most of the superintendents also thought as well.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Thank you. So, the last year when this was brought to the commissioners were given, in all of the 88 counties, 45 days to make a decision. And they could go up to 2.5% property tax that they could credit back, in addition to the homestead. And Lorain County commissioners were in the minority and went completely to the 2.5. They felt pressured, and I waited to the end, and I stayed there to the end, and Mr. Phillips was there to the end. And what they said was that the state was working some things out, and they were going to reconsider it again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So anybody that wants to go there, in order to testify, you have to be there at 2:30 to register, and then you can be there. I've heard from the libraries. The library industry receives 3% of property taxes, and they in Avon Lake would love to be there, but tomorrow is their union contract negotiations. So none of them will be there, but there will be libraries represented. Superintendent Joelle Magar did an excellent job in her presentation, as did other superintendents. What was interesting to me was that it was affecting the townships, the cities. It was also affecting the county. And when the county commissioners actually went to schools and to cities to see how this was affecting them, it was very real for them, because then they saw that services were going to have to be postponed, or services just were not going to be given. And I'm glad that they postponed it till tomorrow, but my concern is that if people don't go and speak, and I too will be there, Mr. Shamir, we need to be there to represent our community. And one of the things that was suggested, and I happen to agree with Mr. Phillips, is that there's two parts to it. There's the homestead, which affects between 20 to 22,000 people out of 360,000 people in Lorain County. And these are the most fragile within the county. These are people that are probably elderly, the widows, they are the disabled, they are the veterans, and for the small little amount that they would be given, it's far less than the 2.5% that's taken away from the city. So I personally would be okay if they decoupled it and kept the homestead provision in, even though it would mean some less for our city. It's the 2.5% that I'm very concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this? All right. Moving on. We did bring up the number 9 is the Zupka Gap financial statements, upcoming contract. Ms. Crossie?
Thank you, Council President. So yes, the city has had a 3-year contract with Zupka for the GAP financial statements, and 2025 is last year that was included in that contract. So I would just like to give a heads up that we'll need some legislation and talk about a possible contract again with them.
When are you thinking that we're going to do that? I know this is a heads-up item, so.
Yes, it doesn't need to be immediate. I just wanted to get it on the agenda, and possibly we could go with next week, but I am waiting for a quote.
Okay. So it's really just to give everybody a heads up
Yes.
that it's coming, or remind everybody it's coming. All right, number 10 is income tax increase on the general election ballot. I know that I'm looking for some recommendations from the administration. Ms. Crossie, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you. So I do have a presentation this evening. Thank you. Yeah, that's okay. See if I can make that a little bit bigger. So I did share this with council, and I just want to be quick about this. This is a quick look at our funds, 3 of our funds that are under discussion. General fund, the income tax transfer fund, and the capital improvement fund. So if you all remember, the income tax is transferred. Typically, in the past, it has been transferred into 4 funds: general fund, the debt fund, and I'll bring that screen up real quick too while I'm talking about general fund, the bond retirement fund, recreation, and the Income Tax Capital Improvement Fund. So this is showing 3 years, 2025 actual, 2026 amended, and 2027 tax budget. But I just want to show you real quickly here that we have our transfers for 2027 to general fund, bond, retirement, and recreation coming out of new income tax projected dollars for 2027. And the transfer to the capital fund is coming from the reserves in income tax. It is not new tax dollars. So you'll see here, although we're projecting $18.5 million in income tax revenue for 2027, we're showing $19.3 million going out because of that reserve transfer to capital. So that's all we have for the capital fund for next year in new tax dollars. And the reason I'm proposing that $820,000 transfer is to cover the cost of leases that we all are already committed to for the fleet, and also possibly police cars that might be needed due to the wear and tear on those police cars. So we're fortunate we are able to do that out of reserves, but you can see what's happening if you look at the 12/31/2027 projected fund balances. In general fund, projected at the end of the year, we'll have $2.7 million, which is not much of a reserve when you see that we roughly have about $2 million monthly in general fund expenses. So what's remaining at the end of 2027 is projected to be about almost a month and a half, not quite, in reserves. In the income tax transfer fund, which is where we're taking some of those reserves for the leases, at the end of 27, we'll projected to be about $1 million left in that income tax transfer fund. But if we don't have this income tax go through, at least we would have those reserves to pay those leases for 2028. So that is why I projected out here. And the income tax transfers. I did want to show one other thing about 2026. I'm sorry. Where is it? Did I close it? I think I might have closed it. Let's see if I can make this larger. So these are the income tax scenarios that I shared with council over the weekend. I did add one more scenario, number 3. The scenario number 1 is the income tax issue that we just tried to pass with the 0.4% additional tax increasing to 1.9% and no change in the credit. Scenarios 2 and 3 were showing no income tax increase, so we would leave it at 1.5%, but we do propose, in these scenarios, we're showing a decrease in the credit. So scenario 2, we would decrease that credit by 50%. To 75% credit, and that would, in the far right, the annual income tax increase for a resident who works outside the city, that would include, and they earn $50,000, that would cost about $375 annually. There would be no increase for folks who work within the city. Scenario 3, similar thing. No income tax increase, and we would propose that the new credit be 1/3 of the current 1.5%. So that would mean that the credit for those the cost for those residents would be an additional 1%, which would be $503 annually, based on a $50,000 salary. And then the next two scenarios are 0.2% additional tax numbers with varying credits. So again, I went with the 50% of the current credit, but it would also be on the new amount. So it would be a 0.85% credit, and that would cost residents working outside the city making $50,000, $425 annually. And then scenario 5 would propose a 0.75% credit rather than the 100% credit. So they would have a credit of 1.28%. The cost to those residents would be an additional 0.42%, and that would be $213 annually. And then the last two scenarios are increases of 0.25%, with, again, those same credit changes, a decrease to 50% and a decrease to 0.75%. And those costs, respectively, for the 0.5% would be $438 annually and $219 annually for a 0.75% credit. So it gets very confusing with these credits, but the recommendation that we are looking at would be, well, I actually have 3 scenarios. So just go back to the ballot, again, with the 0.4% additional tax, leave the credit at the 1.5%. And again, the thought there is that all residents share in that additional 0.4% income tax, as well as businesses and folks who work in the city, in addition to those who work outside the city. So everyone is sharing in the income tax. The other scenarios that could possibly work would be scenario 4. So instead of a 0.4% additional income tax, a 0.2% additional income tax. But we would reduce the credit from 100% to 50%. And you can see that would bring in about $400,000 over our projected estimated road needs and equipment needs. And then the other scenario we would recommend would be number 6, a 0.25% additional income tax with the 50% tax credit instead of 100% credit. And again, that would cost the resident working outside Avon Lake $438, and it would cost those folks working inside Avon Lake an additional $125. The only other thing I would recommend to council is just you might want to consider rescinding the benefit of removing that property tax. A couple council members have talked to me about that, but also we did hear some feedback at some of our presentation that folks maybe felt that was not a necessary thing. They might want to see instead a reduction in the additional income tax that we propose. So that could happen if we did not move forward with that property tax. And the only other thing I want to say about that property tax incentive is because we can't make the October deadline, it would not be effective until January of 28. So that's something to consider there. So a lot of numbers, but I don't know if anyone has anything.
All right. Anyone on the committee have any comments? Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. Ms. Crossy, so it is a 5-year property tax. So if it were to go into effect, if people would pass it, if it were to go into effect, there's only 2 years left on it. Is that correct?
Well, it would be 3, because I think
3 years.
this is the second collection year, so it's 5 collection years. 2, 3. Oh, yeah, it would be 2 remaining by
It'd
the
be
time
2
January
because
28.
it won't
Yes.
go into effect until the next year coming around.
Correct, but then we would not go back out for
Cor-
it again during that 5-year period.
Correct. So,
Yes.
if I could continue, if we, thank you, sir. If we did not include giving back, rescinding that property tax, and I hate to have you do more numbers, but if you would please, for our next meeting, could you give us a scenario if we did not offer that perhaps everything else could be reduced a bit?
Well, if you look at these scenarios, we could then consider option 3, which is no income tax increase, because that would add the $1.1 million that we're talking about not collecting. That would add that back to the roads. And where it says I'm projecting almost a negative $1 million, if we don't rescind that property tax, then we would break even there. So I don't know that I need to do more scenarios.
If I could, I'll talk to you offline because
Okay.
I see it a little differently.
Okay.
And perhaps I'm confused, but I thought that there might be a way, because this has been costing, if we do it, what was just stated, costing people in other cities $503 more per $50,000 of income tax, and I was looking at it differently.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
The one thing about scenario 3, just a reminder there that there would be no income tax increase, but that new credit, we would reduce that credit to 1/3 instead of 100%. It would be 33%, which means an additional 1% for those folks working outside the city. Just want to.
All right, when do we have to have this done and ready to be sent over to the Board of Elections?
So the first step would be to land on a scenario that everyone is comfortable moving forward with. And then we have to have the bond council come up with the language. So next week could be a first reading, but that would be a lot to get done within a week.
No, when do we
There's a lot
have
of
to have
questions.
our legislation done and ready to go over to
So
the
that
Board of
was-
Elections?
First week of August.
Yes, and
First week of
council's on
August.
break. Yeah.
Okay.
And the last scheduled meeting for council, assuming you don't have a special, would be July 13th, so you'd have to pass it by then unless you want to do a special.
Right.
Okay. And if we decided to just do the credit reduction, when does that need to be done by?
Okay, so.
Is the credit reduction gonna go to the ballot?
No, the credit reduction cannot go to the ballot on its own.
Right, so when would we have to enact the credit reduction?
So that would be in the form of an ordinance along with the income tax increase, but it would not be in the ballot language.
I know that.
Yeah.
But when would we need to enact something in order to meet the timelines that the city wants for setting up the budget and getting the road projects done?
Well, if there's any kind of increase, it needs to be by August 1st. And if it's just the credit, that's up to council when that would go. Yeah.
I would think by September, October, when we start doing budget, we'd want to know that.
Right.
That's what I wanna
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Anyone on the committee have any other questions? I don't see anybody. Mr. Kaz?
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Crossy, thank you for putting this together. It's a lot of hard work. I appreciate it. My questions are going to focus on the credit, and I don't expect you to have the answers tonight, but if you could get these to us. I'm interested in the history of the current tax credit. And I'm imagining that if a vote of council can reduce, remove, modify it, that a vote of council had to establish it at one point. I'd like to find when that was established. And Ms. Rossmarin, I hope that you can help with that. I'd like to know the history of that and when that went into effect, and what, if we have the minutes of that as well too, what some of the reasoning was that established that number, the tax credit number. Additionally, if a reduction in credit was established or handled by ordinance only, and I'm not saying that that's what I'm supporting, but I'm trying to figure out what I think would actually make a difference and be approved. Could the benefits of that, or the monies captured by that, by ordinance, be put into a dedicated infrastructure fund, similar to what we talked about previously with the tax issue, with the ballot issue, for that would only be used for infrastructure, capital, roads, equipment, and such, and that it would have that ordinance could have like a 5-year time limit on it, a twilight after 5 years that it would need to be renewed. Are those things that can be included into an ordinance form if that was the route that council decided to go rather than a ballot issue? It's a lot I gave you,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Okay. And I guess, in the last question, if you can clarify this, your option 3, that's not an income tax increase, so that option 3 is a scenario that would be done by ordinance only, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you put a .33 in there. I know we like to deal in quarters and thirds and all of that, but we can pretty much put any number in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Shamir?
Scrossi, thank you for putting all this together. I think my question is going to be a bit different. I've gone through the scenarios and I look at everything that you've put together, and I guess what I would start with, what that material and everything that you submitted shows how we're going to raise money from our current tax base. But nowhere in here, it shows how we're going to grow that tax base. So I go through and I look at income tax scenarios, which, I mean, it gives wonderful scenarios of what can be done. Then we look at what you've put in here. We've got resident cost impacts. We've got information that goes from the 50,000 up. Then we look at property tax offsets and incentives, which we've got in here. Then we got the capital needs estimates, 6 million, 4 million, so we've got the different gamut of numbers. We got reserve drawdowns that you've mentioned. Then we look at, the information touches base on spending reductions, which is, again, very important. But nowhere in here do I see the economic development strategy. So number of employers that we need to attract, job creation, payroll growth, redevelopment yields, or tax base expansion plans. I mean, I don't see a job creation target, so no targets for new jobs or new taxable payrolls. And the power plant redevelopment, I know we've gone over it for several weeks, but again, tied to that, economic sensitivities that would show the income tax associated with whatever concept that you presented. And then the commercial industrial pipeline. So there is no list of active prospects, expansions, or retention risks. And then we go to the tax base growth assumption, which we have no assumption that the plan is going to produce what. So if we're going to the residents to ask for more taxes, and we do not address the tax base growth from what it is, I think we're going to be at the same point where we are today. People want to understand the taxes that they pay, the economic development that is going to go on, and the jobs that are going to be created. How is that going to come in 5 years from now, or 7 years from now, or 10 years from now, to offset those taxes that we are asking people to pay? So fundamentally, I think we need a strategy rather than just scenarios. I think the strategy should show this is what we need today because we're in need. But it also needs to align what we are going to do to offset and reduce that reliance on income tax from the existing residents based on what we are doing to grow the economic base. So this I have no issues with, and I think conceptually all of it is great, but if it doesn't tie to some sort of an economic development strategy that shows specific targets and ROI on the activities that we do, and having specific targets, we're going to have a problem with the voters again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shamir. Anyone else have any comments? Ms. Gentry.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's that people understand that when we currently have a 100% tax credit, which means that those residents who work outside of Avon Lake are not funding any roads, any capital whatsoever. And I want to make sure that people understand that, and that is probably going to drive a lot of the decision making that we have here, because I feel it looks as though we are, if we were to go with a reduction of the credit without increasing the tax rate, it appears as though we're maybe going towards people who work outside of the city. But in actuality, it's making sure that the cost of maintaining the city services and structures that we have are actually spread amongst the residents who use them. So right now, it's fully funded by those who work within the city. So I just wanted to share that bit of information.
Thank you, Ms. Gentry. Mrs. Goodwin?
Thank you.
And I'm ready to wrap this one up, so. for
Okay,
now.
I'll be
Go ahead.
fast. I just had a couple points. Do we have like a number of jobs that we have within the city? Is that in the economic resiliency study? Anywhere? Like that we had, 2024?
Mr. Asborn, you're here. I don't want to get this really protracted out.
No. I guess the only comment I would have is that we have roughly 300 brick and mortar businesses, and getting beyond that to home businesses, counting employees in the brick and mortar businesses is very difficult because that number changes daily. So it's I guess my only comment is, we can come up with an estimate, but it's always going to be within a margin, right?
Thank you.
And then just to my comment about this is, with a credit reduction, I think the most important thing that I can speak that I will be looking for is education on what that means and looks like. Because when I have spoken to my peers, most of them don't even understand the difference between property tax and income tax and where their money is going. And so I would encourage that, and that's not to say that anything that was done at the initial ballot issue was improper or not enough, but I think that there's a completely different avenue that needs to be explored if that's the route. So that's what I would be looking for. That's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. To kind of conclude this, I think we're going to be looking for recommendation from the administration as what to do and how we're going to go about doing. whether it's with ordinances or a ballot. Leave it to you, Ms. Crossy, administration, the mayor, to make a recommendation to us.
Yeah, we're certainly want to hear from our council members. And I think we'll send back out also the current credit that each other of our surrounding cities provide too, just so you have that for reference.
All right, thank you. All right, that's the last item on the Finance Committee agenda. At this point, I don't think there's any other items that need to be added. Did you have something?
I have an issue with a resident which I need to deal with today before the next council meeting, so I can either do it at miscellaneous businesses or before we get into legislation, whatever you like.
We'll find a spot for it. Let's
Okay,
get this
thanks.
meeting finished up. That brings us to public input on the Finance Committee meeting. We got 3 minutes. Come on up with anything relative to what was part of the agenda this evening. Mr. Phillips.
Avon Lake. The regional or read-up report, the percentage is down 3%. And that's an indication that we have no economic growth in the city of Avon Lake. Because I'm sure employees of the various employers are getting cost of living increases. So they even get just a 3% cost of increase, and we're collecting 3.5% less. We're not creating jobs. Homestead exemption and the owner credit. I've attended all the commissioners' meeting, and the homestead only is very limited for people whose income under 41,000. They're veterans, disabled, or surviving spouses. So when I spoke at the commissioners' meeting, I'm 100% in support of the homestead exemption. And I also indicated to the commissioners that on the owner's credit, they have the ability to go up to 2.5% because the statute said may. And I proposed to them that they limit the owner's credit to those people who are eligible for the homestead credit. So they get the benefit because those are the most needy. I mean, people on Lake Road that have $1 million homes are going to get 2.5%. So the owner credit is the property tax is regressive. It burdens the lower income people more than the high income people. So it's a regressive tax from the theory of taxation. Zupa, I'd like to know what the contract amount is and what has in the past, how they allocated the audit fees to the enterprise funds. Income tax increase, you can reduce the credit, but, under your charter, section 9A, you can put the reduction of credit on the ballot. I don't know why you need bond counsel to draft the language for the ordinance for the income tax increase, because it's not tied to any bonds. I'm sure the law director could do that. The fact that you may reduce the credit, you're going to have 75% of the people who work outside the city. You're going to have a real tough sell on that issue, okay? Statistics, Kayla, go look in the CAFR report. They list the number of companies, and they list how many employees they have. So in the back of the CAFR is a lot of statistics, and also in the economic resiliency report. So you can get a lot of data that helps on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Anyone else wishing to come up on the Finance Committee meeting? Mr. Zimmerman.
William Zimmerman, beautiful Avon Lake. So I'd like to talk about, what you guys call it here, legal fees in regards to my lawsuits against the city. House Supreme Court ruled in our favor, saying that you did not supply meeting minutes, you didn't tell us when the meetings were, so on and so forth. And so Mr. Esborn now believes that he's made reference to 7 meetings that occurred from July 22nd to June 11th of 24. 22 to 24, over 2 years, only 7 meetings. And the minutes read, the Brownfield Committee discussed the latest development involved in the power plant redevelopment project. It's 1 sentence. That's it. Minutes are supposed to reflect that if you read them, you would understand what happened at the meeting. That 1 sentence doesn't do that. That's not in compliance. In no way, shape, or form is that what the Ohio Supreme Court had in mind. And you know, all of this would have been forgotten, moved away, would have never have occurred if you had just been honest. I had a meeting with Mr. Ebert. He said, "What's this really about, Bill?" Julie and myself and he. And I said, "It's about the truth. People don't tell the truth. Still lies coming off of everybody's lips." As some say, the truth will set you free. But we can't get the truth still. That's why it's now a 1-phrase sentence. The minutes of the Brownfield meetings. This is the most ludicrous thing I've seen in a while out of this chamber. Just more shocking every time. The truth is the only thing that matters.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Anyone else coming up for discuss anything on the Finance Committee meeting? Seeing none, it is 9:07, and the meeting of the Finance Committee will adjourn. We'll move on to the collective committee meeting on the second page of our agenda. The items that are listed there are the Finance Committee. We've discussed just recently the CRS donation, the crack ceiling bid award, which we'll know on Wednesday, I think, and the bills for the McDonald Hopkins and for Sealy Savage Ebert and Garage. Any further discussion or comments on any of those items? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to Human Resources. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just wanted to put out that the HR committee will be at the CCM on the 15th. I had a discussion with the HR director and she had some good news. An offer was put out for the engineering position and was accepted. They're currently doing the contacting references and doing the background checks. Earlier today at the Civil Service Commission, the job descriptions for the assistant fire chief and the fire chief were both approved. Those will be on first reading at the next council meeting. A firefighter paramedic appointment. A conditional offer letter was put out. The oath of office is scheduled to be at the June 8th council meeting. A lateral entry police officer appointment. An offer letter was put out, and the oath of office it's in the packet. The oath of office will be on June 15th at the CCM. And a police lieutenant appointment. That oath of office will be at the June 15th CCM.
Very good. The job descriptions will be coming for legislation.
Yes.
Okay. What's the plan on those? 3 readings on those, or the mayor just put his light on. He
Yeah,
probably
no, it's-
wants them done right away, I would think, so we could start moving some people.
Yeah, we would like to get them done as soon as possible. We
Get it
do
up to
have
full
to
strength.
finalize the salary range in those, but we're working on, we've done quite an extensive analysis of surrounding cities, so that's gonna have to go through council as well, though.
All right.
Discussion.
So we're looking, I see that we have the assistant fire chief and the fire chief on first readings down at the bottom. So we probably just have a first reading?
Yeah, at least 2.
At least 2, okay. Any questions for Mr. Reynolds? What is the engineer's, are we allowed to say his name?
Not at this point, because we haven't finalized the.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Reynolds from anyone to my right? To my left? No, I don't see any. All right, move on. Legislation, second reading, we have the resolution. Mr. Shamir, I'll get that to you.
So, the resolution authorizing the finance director to disperse the Job Growth Incentive Program award for tax year 2025 on an emergency basis is based on an ordinance that requires that disbursement to be done within a specific time. And if I may ask Mr. Esborn to come and just give us a brief.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Questions that there might be about the award list. I don't see anything sort of out of the ordinary about this year's list. It's very similar to lists in the past. So I just, we are looking for approval on second read next Monday, the 8th, to conform with the language in the ordinance that says that the awardees should be paid within 60 days from tax day.
Any questions? The only question I have is when are we gonna change that ordinance?
Mr. Ebert, I think, is working on the.
Yeah, we talked about the
Yes.
language. Yes.
Thank you.
So that money is gonna go where then?
So conceptually, the way that is being looked at is that part of the money would go towards economic development, and the other portion would be utilized to select potentially one business that would be honored and
Right.
yeah, and that would be selected based on peers as well as council and administration coming together to select that.
Well, I think it's important that the economic development portion of that is taken care of, and improve our economic development, as you said, Mr. Shamir. I mean, that's important
Correct.
toward the tax. I mean, we have to work on our economic
Yes.
development. Yes, Mr.
Yeah, I
Mayor.
would just add that the CIC will be discussing this as well. And I think my personal recommendation would be is we just rescind it, the current ordinance, and then we work on establishing a new program, whatever that may look like in the future.
Speak on the CIC, have we had those interviews, those last 3 interviews set up yet?
So we're going to schedule them for next week.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for Mr. Esborn? All right. That takes care of the second readings. First readings, the crack ceiling bid award, the CRS donation, then the 2 attorneys, and the fire chief. And fire chief, are we missing anything? Any questions or comments on those? All right, we're on to, I see none, we'll move on to miscellaneous. Mr. Shamir, you asked for a time here.
Actually, I did. If I may, I'm going to plug in I had a brief discussion with Law Director Ebert. And this is based on a resident within Ward 1 who has been having issues with a property finalization. And let me just quickly go through it. The property owner had a site improvement plan that was approved in October of '24. The Zoning Board of Appeal granted them a sidewalk variance in August of '25. 2 days later, notice of approval was sent to them. And then on October 22nd, the Zoning Board of Appeals added a 1-year limitation, which was not previously on there. And then in December of '25, this was, their as-bills were not approved. And this has been going back and forth, and I think, well, it is now, it is in the courts. And what I did is I had a conversation with the property owner for the past few weeks, and these are effectively the issues, and it seems like that most of the issue is attached to the sidewalk variance dispute, and everything else kind of has escalated from there.
Excuse me if
Yes.
I could for 1 second. You said
Please.
that this is in court?
Yes.
It's in litigation. Is
Yeah.
it something that we should be discussing here, Mr. Ebert?
Well, what he's proposing or discussing
Yeah.
can be discussed, because I've had.
All right, I just wanna make
Yes,
sure. I
this is
don't
not,
wanna-
this is not changing
No.
anything in the court system,
No.
please whatsoever.
I apologize.
No, I had a conversation with Mr. Ebert before this. So this is effectively where we are. We've got an issue, which I think if we can just sit there and go through a conflict resolution approach, we can resolve it and move on before it becomes a legal headache. And in my discussion with Mr. Ebert, I think he agreed that there could be a phone call, and all the parties involved can come together and potentially resolve it. And I think he's already got an approach to deal with the issue. And I will leave it to Mr. Ebert to maybe elaborate if he'd like.
Yes, I have.
Go ahead, Mr. Ebert.
I have talked to her counsel specifically as far as getting together all the parties to try to get this resolved, because we're going nowhere fast on it. And this is not doing something outside of what the case is. I know the attorney, we're scheduling, matter of fact, as of Friday, I asked for some dates, he responded what time would be available. So we're in the process of trying to negotiate a time to get together and try to get the parties together to try to resolve it. Because it deals with the sidewalk issues and that, and the compensation. But
So I think, we can close this thing, and the quicker we get rid of it, I think the better off we all are. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Miscellaneous business and announcement, Ms. Gentry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the RFQ for an economic impact study. So I sat down with the mayor and Ms. Crossy and Ted Asborn earlier, no, it was last week, sorry.
Last week.
Friday last week, to get some starter points on that. So we're reviewing that, and I just wanted to know if there's to help get this process moving, is there a way that we can have more, I don't know if it would be a working session at the beginning of the meeting next week, so that the council can get more engaged and get their opinions. I'm afraid that if we wait too long and it comes before council, then people have comments, now we've got to make a change. So I need to understand if there's a better way of moving forward with this, or if we,
Do
if
you
that's
wanna
not the
consider
appropriate way to
setting
do
up
it.
a separate committee of council to deal with that? We might do that. I think I have the ability to do that under our rules.
Ad hoc committee?
Right. Okay. Who would like to be on that committee? I see one hand, I see two hands, I see three hands. All right. I will put something together through Mrs. Rossmarin, and we'll get something out.
what's the timeline for that happening? Do we have to vote on that in council to approve the
No,
the
I'll
committee,
just set
or?
up a committee.
Okay, so then we can meet this week? Or whenever we
I
can
don't know
get
you'll be
together?
able to meet this week, but certainly you have to work it through Ms. Rossmarin to get something set up. And you probably want someone in the administration to be
Yep.
part of the committee as well. Yes.
I was just saying, previous, with ad hoc committees, we have had a council motion. So I can get you that information if.
All right,
just
well,
to
we
set
got a
it up.
meeting next week to do it if we have to do it that way. I thought I read that I could just set up a committee.
I think you can.
Under
I
the
just
rules,
wanted
yeah.
to-
Can we create a
Well, that's-
special
that's
meeting
what I'll
and
do.
then have
Huh?
can we
If we
create
have-
a special meeting to vote on it?
No,
and then
we have a
can-
meeting next week. I could add it to the agenda if we need to. But I think I'll just set it, I think I can just create the committee. I'm pretty sure I can. So I'll do that. Speaking of me and my powers and what I can do, I did send everybody an outline of the meeting that I did go to for the council presidents. That was very interesting. I'd like anyone to give me any calls or ask me any questions about it. I did send I guess it's the notes from that meeting. There is also the ability to join a committee of councils throughout northeast Ohio. Someone had asked, it's $400 for the city of Avon Lake to be a member of that group. If there's interest in that, of joining it, let me know, and then we'll do something about getting us joined on there so that we can go to those meetings. Again, that was very informative, listening to other council presidents, issues that they have, issues that I have, and suggestions for how to fix some of the things. Any other miscellaneous business or announcements? Yes, Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Thank you. I have two quick ones. So this past weekend, as we've been doing the last couple weekends, we had a 250 Jubilee event, and it was very successful, I understand, with the dogs. Coming up June the 13th, if you bake your favorite cookies or your cake or pie, you have to pre-register, but there is a bake-off. And then on Saturday, June the 27th, you can either run or you can walk. There's a 5K run walk. There's also a 1 mile run walk. And that's actually a fundraiser, and you need to register. You can register online. Just go to 250jubilee.com.
All right, you said you had two things, or
That's
did
the
you
second
cover
one.
them
Thank
both?
you.
All right. Any other miscellaneous business and announcements? Yes, Mr. Shamir.
If I may ask the question, I know that we had the groundbreaking at the new Avon Lake Intermediate School at Learwood today, and the mayor was there, and Mr. Esborn, and everyone else, Ms. Fenderbosh. So I understand that they're actually starting construction on Monday, and I think they're still waiting for their permit. Is that being issued?
So we've had discussion with the Community Development Department. So they want to begin site work on Monday, and obviously we want to keep them on their schedule because it's a very important schedule. Chris Howard is reviewing what they presented. They provided part of what they needed to provide to Chris Howard actually went to the building department, and the building department didn't have everything, so that didn't move. So Chris has got the information now from the building department. He's going to review that. I don't anticipate any issues holding it up. It's more of a site plan issue for grading and elevations.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Anyone else have their hands up? Seeing none, we'll adjourn at 9:24. Thank you, everybody.